Okay, so today looking at, by request, Luciano Pavarotti's astrology chart. So I'm going to get into the chart straight away and talk about the placements like I normally do. His sun is here in the third house in the sign of Libra. So it's interesting because we have a double air energy going on here with the sun being in Libra. That's an air sign, obviously. And the third house is an air house. It's a Gemini house, which relates to communication and self-expression. And, you know, a lot of people that have Gemini influence are very strong with public speaking or writing. So the air element definitely relates to the throat chakra. And also the second house is throat chakra. And we have Neptune is in Virgo. And that's a very idealistic energy to have Neptune conjunct Venus in the first house. And first house is of the physical body, of the self, of the identity. Virgo energy here, with both of these signs being in Virgo, are about perfecting a skill or ability. So in his case, obviously perfecting his singing voice and his aptitude and skill for Virgo singing relates to very technical things. So having a skill that's quite technical, and that's what we see here. And with Neptune conjunct Venus, though, it's very interesting because on the one hand, the Venus in Virgo is about perfecting that skill and ability that he has, his natural talent. That is definitely like part of his whole personality because it's in the first house of personal identity. So the Venus here is in the first house. With Neptune conjunct Venus, Neptune relates to music. It's Pisces, it rules Pisces, and it relates to the music, the whole realm of music and creativity, the arts. So it shows very strongly that he has a big passion for perfecting his talent with singing. That's what you see. He's someone who I would say has a combination of natural talent, but also the ability to work and focus on improving that natural skill and ability. So Venus also has a trine from Uranus, so that does indicate some kind of inspiration coming from Uranus, the higher realms of Mercury, and Uranus trine Venus. Strong Uranian energy here, and Uranus is interestingly in fall in Taurus. He was born in 1935, so back then Uranus was in Taurus like it is now. So there's something maybe has been difficult in his life with regards to his communications with others because of this Uranus here in the ninth house opposite Mercury. He might be a little bit, he may have been when he was younger a bit rebellious, or someone who I definitely would say with the Aries moon as well in rebellious, someone who felt that they had a unique path or a strong pull towards their own independent path away from other people. And maybe sometimes that could have caused some, with the Uranus opposite Mercury, some discord with people around him in his local area. You know, siblings, even extended family, relatives. There could have been some kind of issues with regards to how people saw him in his local area. And I don't know too much about Luciano Pavarotti, except I obviously, like most people, he's internationally known for his powerful, powerful voice, his opera singing. So, yeah, I don't know about his background, but I would speculate that there was some kind of issue with communication to do with people in his local area or people around him. Struggled with people because of this Saturn in the seventh house as well. So Saturn in the seventh house, seen that in a few charts so far. That was in the chart of Selena Gomez, who I just did recently. If you haven't seen that analysis, check it out. But she also had Saturn in the seventh. Saturn in the seventh, different sign though. This one in Pavarotti's chart, it's in Pisces. So it indicates struggles with regards to authority figures. So may have had an issue with a father figure. Saturn is retrograde in his chart as well. So that does, when Saturn's retrograde in a natal chart, it does indicate problems with the father figure, an absent father or a difficult father, or a difficult relationship with a father. Sometimes with Saturn in Pisces and being in the seventh house, it could be there may have been some issue with addiction with the father, or an absent father, or a religious father, because we're looking at Pisces problems. And when the Saturn is retrograde, you can guarantee there's an issue with the father there. That's one indication of it. He also has the part of fortune, however, in the seventh house, so and conjunct the descendant here. So it does show that he does benefit from other people in his life, significant people in his life can be a support to him. It's Aquarius, so it could be, long-term friends and people that he sees as more friendship-oriented people. So I want to go back to his moon for a second and just look at the moon in Aries in the ninth house. So the ninth house is a Sagittarius house, which is a very big energy. It's ruled by Jupiter. To have the moon in such a fiery energy there in Aries, in an expressive house, the ninth house, it shows that he has such a strong desire to express his emotion through his music. So I would say that's a very key and evident thing to see there with that moon in Aries. The moon in Aries is very non-compromising. These people are usually quite bold and strong in themselves. They know how to stand their ground. They know how to be very present in their self-confidence. And it takes a lot of confidence in yourself, obviously, to stand there and to sing with such power and intensity, but I'd say it comes very naturally, and he has a good combination of that powerful, fiery, very focused Aries moon. Aries is very focused energy, and so he's able to channel his very powerful emotions through his voice and through his self-expression, which is the ninth house here. So the Sagittarius house, it's to do with, as I said, it's really about self-expression. So now it's an interesting sort of contrast here. Aries is very different energy to Virgo. It's a quincunx aspect or an inconjunct. So they are very different, but I would say that he has managed to make this work for him. And I feel like there's been a lot of hard work for him to perfect his craft, with his signature singing style that he has, because of the Venus in Virgo showing that he would have had to work over a lot of practice to get to where he's at, where he has that level of confidence. But it's the combination where he had the desire with a moon in Aries, which is, moon in Aries people will be very focused on what they desire to get what they want with what they're trying to achieve in life. And they're very determined and very focused, as I said, very willful. But with the Venus in Virgo, there's such a desire to perfect a craft, as I said. The Sun in Libra in the third house shows a need to connect with others. So through the use of, the spoken word, through singing, through communication. And Mercury also is in Scorpio at 0 degrees. Wow, that's a critical degree. So also in the third house. So very strong need to communicate he has, especially because the ninth house and the third house have strong placements there. The luminaries, the sun and the moon, are in communication houses. Okay, the Venus is in the first house of identity, so he finds value in his craft, which is the Virgo, Venus in Virgo. The Neptune conjunct Venus shows that he's inspired as well, so there's inspiration behind it. Interestingly, another person with the North Node in the fifth house, funny how we keep seeing that. I saw that in, I think it was Selena Gomez's chart, and there was another person's chart. If you look at my famous chart analysis list, you'll see, I don't know who it is, but someone else's chart I analyzed had North Node in the fifth house, which shows, it may have been Kanye West, I'm not sure, but it shows like the life purpose tied to following your passion. And for him, it's become, it's Capricorn, also in Capricorn, very independent and focused on success in regards to his passion. Fifth house is what makes you feel alive, what makes you feel you're in touch with your passions, your heart, your truth. So there could have been interesting there in his life some undercurrents and some intense energies in family. And we do have Jupiter and Mars both in the fourth house of family and home. So he probably had some very intense things going on in his family. Jupiter in Scorpio, Jupiter's positive wherever it's placed, but I always find Jupiter in Scorpio kind of difficult because it sort of brings up or highlights a lot of difficult aspects of life. So also the fourth house is not just family, it's also your emotions. So he has very intense emotions, and he's Italian, and I can attest to that. Us Italians, we do have pretty intense emotions. So yeah, I think it's it's evident in his chart with the Aries moon and Leo rising too. Lots of fire energy here, lots of passionate emotions. And just he uses his singing as a beautiful channel. And I say beautiful because of not only the way it sounds, but Venus and Neptune Neptune conjunct Venus in the first house, I would say when he sings, he's having like a transcendental experience, like a spiritual experience, because that Neptune conjunct Venus really does show that. It's yeah, it's powerful. Let's see what the so Neptune's at 15 degrees and Venus is at 9 degrees of Virgo. 6 degrees. So yeah, that's a good solid conjunction right there. So it's not like one of the tightest conjunctions, but it's definitely quite strong. Interestingly, it has Chiron in the 10th house in Gemini. So, and Chiron squares his Venus, but it trines his Sun and sextiles his Moon, opposes his Mars in the 4th house. So maybe his fame caused some problems in his family because the opposition between the Chiron and the Mars from the 10th house of career to the 4th house of home and family. I would suspect that some, maybe there was either some issue, possibly, I don't know for sure, I'm just speculating based on the chart, that maybe there was, with his success came some kind of difficulty or tension within the family. Could have been to do with money. His Mars, he's in Sagittarius in the 4th house. So yeah, let's see how the Mars is aspecting things. Mars is trine Moon. I find with Mars trine Moon, even though it's a harmonious aspect and it gives a person the ability to stand their ground very well, but it can be a bit of a temper. Sometimes you can have anger flare-ups when you have Mars trine Moon, and especially because you have a Moon in Aries, which is very fiery and can definitely be short-tempered, especially in the 9th house, can be full of bluster and full of hot air, really. And I'm not saying that he is, but that type of energy, I don't know him personally, obviously, that type of energy can be very, very talkative, very fiery, very expressive. And then, the Leo ascendant, very passionate, very bold personality. Usually Leo ascendant people are very generous people, generous-hearted people, And let me just see what the aspects are with, so Jupiter square the ascendant. Yeah, so Mars in Sagittarius in the 4th house shows also an indulgent streak. So when you have Mars in Sagittarius, you love to enjoy the good things of life, and especially in home and family, he really loves to enjoy and probably goes all out. He probably has big tastes, like in expensive things, with Jupiter in Scorpio and Mars in Sagittarius in the 4th house. And let me see. And with Mars trine Moon, I would say he would be quite generous, most likely towards his family or loved ones. With Mars in Sagittarius, Sagittarians are quite generous usually, especially Leo ascendant. He does have that fixed 22 degrees, which is known as a difficult degree in the fixed sign. So if you have, 22 degrees of Leo, Aquarius, Taurus, or Scorpio, that is known as one of the critical degrees, not the anaretic degree, which is 29 or 0, but known as a critical degree, which is a different thing. It can be said to be difficult, that sometimes I think with this energy that you can attract when you have a 22 degree fixed placement, enemies or people that are jealous of you, or people that want to take you down in some way, or people that just get the wrong idea about you and try and project their fears or issues onto you. And he may definitely experience that with the Saturn in the 7th house as well. So I'm just going to see if there's anything else that with his midheaven, interestingly, he has Uranus conjunct the midheaven in Taurus, and Venus trine the midheaven. Now, if you know astrology, you know the midheaven is your career. So with Taurus on the midheaven, it shows a long-standing career. Very wide conjunction, really. Let's see. Yeah, it's within 10 degrees, so there is a conjunction between Uranus and the midheaven. So it does show that his career is quite unique, with Uranus being, the planet of what's unpredictable and different and unique, and very independent path. Someone who's very much sort of, they have their very own unique signature on what they do with Uranus. Whenever Uranus is involved with the 10th house of the midheaven, the person has a unique path in some way, or a creative, artistic path. Taurus, midheaven, interestingly, clearly the throat chakra, singing, music. People that have strong Taurus often have, some kind of power in their speech, a good speaking voice, a beautiful singing voice. If you see Mercury in Taurus, Venus in Taurus, sometimes Taurus ascendant and Taurus midheaven, very strong connection to the arts and music, especially when Venus is ruled by, like, it's in its home sign in Taurus, so that's the midheaven sign as well, and that's in, you know, it's a strong energy that he has Venus in his first house, and his midheaven is a sign that is ruled by Venus, so it shows that he has a love and passion for what he's doing with his career and his singing. So I'm going to leave it at that. Any other suggestions for other people? I'm just going to mention the other people that I'm thinking of doing, and I've mentioned this before, but I really want to do Cher's chart, and I would like to do a singer that I've discovered recently who I really love some of her songs is Doja Cat. Doja Cat, she's an American singer. She kind of does rap, sort of. I don't know what the style is, what you'd call it actually. So, but if you know her and like her music, two songs that I really love of Doja Cat's are the one that she did with The Weeknd, called In Your Eyes, and another song called Say So. That's a really good song. And so I'm really keen to look at her chart. The only thing is she does not have a birth time listed, so I'll just be looking at the main parts of her chart, not the rising sign or some of the aspects. But anyway, I'll finish there, guys, and I'll see you on the next video.